Yo, what's this letter? Whoa.
History Review. Welcome everybody to the very first History Review. It is such an honor to be your first host of History Review. Today we are talking about the Great Depression, otherwise known as the Large Sad, otherwise known as my life during the research paper. Anyway, let's begin. American prosperity. You know that the 1920s was a prosperous time. Mostly the rich were prosperous, but everyone in the city wanted to join in. Manufacturing was up due to assembly lines, resulting in an economic boom. New products became available, such as blenders, radios, washing machines, and cars. Everyone was happy. Unemployment rates were generally low, taxes were low, and there were lots and lots of parties. And big businesses were big. Republican presidents of the 20s, such as Herbert Hoover and Calvin Coolidge, were pro-business because after the war, everyone was sick of those darn populists fighting for their human rights. We just wanted to return to normalcy, which meant big business boys controlling the market. Everything was growing, except my plants. I do not know how to grow plants. Overexpansion. This growth was unsustainable, and the US had overexpansion of industrial capacity, otherwise known as Oxford. This was when a business or industry makes too much of their thing, so their value goes down. You think an original holographic Charizard Pokemon trading card would be expensive if there were millions of them? No. So basically, this happened to the industrial industry and the farmer industry.
Hey, I heard something about farming Pokemon cards. Where can I start?
Okay. So as for farmers' businesses, from 1914 to 1921, demand was up. The entire world was buying US crops because they were too busy killing each other in World War I to farm. This meant that US crop prices soared, and the farmers were having good times. The problem was that once the war ended, the soldiers came back, and Europe started feeding itself again. But farmers kept producing the same amount of food. This meant that there was way more food than people to buy it. So farmers went into this fatty recession from 1921 to 1923. As for industrial business in the 20s, our economy was very into consumer durables. Consumer durables are products that are relatively expensive and long-lasting, like blenders, radios, washing machines, cars, and diamond pickaxes. Four of those things were very popular in the 20s, and the economy was based on manufacturing them, cars especially. But the problem was that everyone only needed one blender, but companies kept making more blenders. We'll get to that later. Credit. So how did everyone afford all this new stuff when the top 5% had around 30% of the disposable income? Well, they did it. They just thought they did, due to the creation of credit, where you could buy stuff and pay for it later. The cool new thing was this layaway plan, where you could pay a down payment and then pay a percentage each month. For example, a $100 blender, say you pay 10% up front. Wow, you got a blender. Now you pay your monthly installments, say that's about 10%, $10 a month for 9 months, and wow, a blender. But the problem was, everything had an installment plan. Radios, washing machines, cars, your grandma, and everything was being bought by everyone because everyone thought they could afford it. They couldn't. Companies were rapidly increasing in perceived value, causing their stocks to go up very quickly. People were also buying stocks on credit, which is called buying on margin. Don't do that! The big suck. Now that everyone in their apple tree had a blender, blender companies didn't need to make as many. Thus, the companies started laying people off. Now that these people no longer had enough money to afford products, a downward spiral began. They were unable to buy a product, so the manufacturer of that product also had to do layoffs, and the people laid off don't have enough money to buy stuff, so there were more layoffs, and boom, we just went infinite. As the market shrank, companies lost their stock value, causing a stock market crash. There were two crashes, Black Thursday and Tragic Tuesday. Everyone was in crippling debt. They owed money for stocks and for all their durables. They no longer could pay it off, and even worse, banks started foreclosing on their homes. But guess what? Even the banks were in crippling debt because they invested their money in the stock market. So when grandma wanted to cash in her retirement paycheck, the banks were like, whoops, sorry, I invested your life savings in Applebee's stocks. This is how the Great Depression started. Everyone was sad. Around a quarter of Americans were unemployed, and in several major cities, around half were unemployed. Perfectly balanced, as all things should be. Conclusion. So, that's how the Great Depression started. So, what will happen next? Who will host History Review next? Will it be Tonti? I don't know. Could it be Batman? I don't know. Will it be a middle schooler who doesn't know what they're talking about? If we can't get the other two, then it's possible. I'm GB, and thanks for watching History Review. Make sure to subscribe to Read the Bird for more videos.